I heard my 11-year-old son say "booyah" the other night, and I simply smiled. He wasn't born when Stuart Scott made that line iconic, but Stuart's impact, it continues to be felt by so many generations, young and old. Ever wonder where "booyah" came from? Well, we tried to find out.
A little bit of pop and lock. Booyah! Ha! Boo no.
Booyah. Not sure people knew what that meant when he said it.
There was a hip-hop group called the Boo-Yah Tribe, and that word came from hip-hop.
So is that the origin of it?
Yeah.
I've been told that it was at one point a Marine Corps thing, and specifically a Black Marine Corps thing. But I don't know if that's true.
Okay, so Mr. Gilbert, down the street, we're sitting there at Mr. Gilbert's house, and Mr. Gilbert said, "Hey, Freddie," he said, "did you and Stuart hear that thunderstorm last night?" He goes, "You had to hear it." He goes, "That thunder was like crack, 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 booyah." We're like, what?
I don't know. Like, so there's no real, I kind of gave up on that.
Tonight at 9 Eastern will be the debut of "Booyah," a Stuart Scott portrait. The director of the 30 for 30 film, Andre Gaines, is here. Andre, thank you for joining us here. And why did you want to make this documentary?
Why not? It's when ESPN, when the team called me to make it, I just said this was a yes please situation. Didn't have to ask me twice. I mean, as a young journalist, young journalism student, I should say, I really idolized Stuart Scott. He's a member of my fraternity, Alpha Phi Alpha. He was just one of these guys that made you feel at home, and the opportunity to tell his real story just was an opportunity of a lifetime, really. I'm, very honored.
Andre, Stuart had a diverse life and a significant cultural impact, whether you were white, black, brown. How do you decide which of his stories to tell?
That's both the hard and fun part of filmmaking, and especially in this case, because what I think the audience is going to see here is another side of Stuart. We know the trailblazer, the icon, the legend as fans, but we never got a chance to really get inside his orbit, inside his private world. And Stuart had recorded so many hours of video of himself over the course of his entire life, from adulthood, kind of up through the end of his life, through his cancer battle. And so we were blessed with the luxury of these videos and photos and things like this. And it really, came down to trying to tell the stories, the major parts of each portion of his life that kind of brought everything together. And I think we got almost, almost all of it in there, even in a short period of time. It's just a matter of trying to be able to expand on certain sections. But yeah, it's a real tapestry and a real intimate portrait of his personal life.
Last night at MSG at the Jimmy V Classic, I spoke with Stuart's daughters and Stuart's siblings. How did you integrate their memories into this doc?
Yeah, that was the cool part. I was there last night with them too, and we actually started talking a little bit about that after they were on court there. And there's sort of two things. One is just the plethora of home video that we have. We get a chance to see both Taylor and Sydney as babies, even, and just how much they sort of looked and act alike, especially as kids. But then the other piece of this is that there was so much of Stuart's life that predated their birth that even they had never seen. They had never had access to that. They had never seen it put together. And so this was kind of some type of a love letter in a way from me to them, but also from Stuart to all of us, to the rest of the world, and being able to put that together so that they can enjoy it as a family, and then also we as fans can enjoy it as an audience was really a pleasure.
I love hearing that. What are you hoping viewers will come away from watching this documentary?
Yeah, so many things. I know that I got to know Stuart in the making of it. That was pretty cool. And I think that the takeaways that I took as a filmmaker and as a man really just was the power of perseverance. I mean, Stuart's grit through his cancer battle was something that was very public, but he had a lot of other challenges leading up to that, you know, over the course of his life. His athletic prowess and dreams were thwarted by issues with his eyes. He, you know, faced racism and discrimination on so many different fronts, inside the walls, outside the walls of the network, and he really did work, you know, to work through it as opposed to around it or over it or under it. And we really have the results of that. And I think that if anyone looks at this and says that they're having a hard time trying to achieve anything, they really look at Stuart Scott as this inspiration of how to do it with grace and class and really make the most of it at the end of the day.
And I think that's a big reason why everybody connected with him. He was always true to himself and authentic no matter what. Andre Gaines, we appreciate your time. Can't wait to watch the doc tonight on ESPN. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you, Kevin. Great to see you.